Hey everybody, welcome back to another Sunday Showcase. I'm your host Kyle, and this week I'm actually by myself. So basically anyone who's been following the channel at all this week knows that we did a fuck ton of work for E3. And essentially what happened is I ran out of time to do all my recording time was spent in doing E3 stuff. And I didn't leave any time to do a showcase, and now it's Saturday night, it's about 1 in the morning, and I need to have this thing up in 14 hours. And neither Ryan nor Chris are available. So I figured I was going to do a solo one this week. And because of that, I figured I'd play a game that I'm pretty good at, and I can kind of just, turn off my focus on the game a little bit by it being sort of focus on being at all entertaining, because goddamn I don't have anyone to bail me out if I stop using the things to say. So yeah, I'm playing Yakuza 0, which is a game that I have beaten before. It's a game that I enjoy quite a bit, and it was something that we ultimately decided, while we think it's really fun, we didn't really want to do it for the channel as a full playthrough, because Giant Bomb did that, and we don't want to be like those guys, but, in a pinch for a showcase, I think that is totally fine. So basically, since I don't have a co-host this week, I kind of thought it was going to be a little bit more like a, relatively easy storytelling episode. Before I kind of get into my, the main topic I wanted to talk about, I figured I'd just catch you guys up a little bit in the game. It's at the start of Chapter 2, there's I can't remember if there's 13 or if there's 25 chapters. There's a lot. All this basically happened is, one day fabled Yakuza Kazuma Kiryu has just been expelled from the Dojima family of his own volition. He wanted to get himself kicked out so that he could go and clear the name of his mentor who's in prison and is going to be excommunicated if he doesn't do that. He was accused of a murder that he did not commit. But yet anyway. Yeah, he's out of the Dojima family. So he went and beat the fuck out of a bunch of people at the Dojima office because he's basically Goku. He can just do that. So yeah, now that he's working outside of the rules of the Yakuza as a civilian, he can go and conduct an independent investigation and figured things out. Yakuza, the guy who wants to visit, is one of the lieutenants who's vying for his mentor's job as a captain of the Dojima family. Yeah, so I'm basically just gonna, I'll kind of play through the story a little bit, but I'm mostly just gonna be kind of doing as I desire. And stopping and punching dudes in the way if I want to, but I'll kind of do as I please moving forward. So kind of the main topic I wanted to talk about was I kind of get a little bit of my backstory as a person. I've realized that though a lot of people know a lot of pieces of it, I've never really kind of gone through that entire thing start to finish before. Most people in my life have not been around for the entire part of it, and the ones that were, I wasn't necessarily as close to on an emotional level and didn't really fill people in, so this kind of seemed like a good time to do it. What the fuck is happening here? Oh no, not Mr. Shakedown. This guy just wants to beat the fuck out of you, and he's like gigantic and super impossible to beat in a fight. Yeah, I think I can walk by you without saying a word. He just wants to beat the actual fuck out of us. And we're like, no, we're not going to give you any money. I know you're twice my size. This is going to go well for me. This is not going to go well for me. He's pretty much impossible to beat at this early in the game. He's going to beat me in like 2 hits. Yep, look at that health bar. And yeah, literally 2 hits. I just got shook the fuck down by Mr. Shakedown. That was not pretty. No part of that was pretty. You're not half bad. I'll let you off the hook this time. Thanks, Mr. Shakedown. I'm having trouble with somebody like you. I need to change my training regimen. Time to bump up the intensity. It's going to be expensive. If I want to save up that kind of money, you've got some shaking down to do. Glad you have your priorities in order. That guy's kind of a dick, but goddamn does he dress nicely. Dude, I'm fucking fine. Don't worry about me. Just had the misfortune of reaching Hiroya. I'm not going to try to do that name. Mr. Shakedown's a good enough name. Mr. Shakedown? Yeah, he'll go after anybody that crosses his path, and then he just takes everything you've got. It seems like you can hold your own in the fight, but that guy's on a whole different level. If he sets a sight on you, you run for it. He's definitely more than the average tough guy can handle. Still wish somebody come along and get the money out of him. Yeah, you can do that later and get all the money he has, and he feels really good. Careful when you're sitting on a stack of cash. And yeah, there is a Mr. Shakedown in the other town that you can go to. I don't know if we're getting anywhere near that, but yeah, haven't seen the last of him, but he might have to be cool. Mr. Shakedown stuff. Yeah. So, so yeah, I guess I'll kind of get into a little bit of my past, my history, and what ultimately led me to where I am now. So just a real quick recap of my childhood. I was like an above average intelligence child. I was very, very good at math, sciences, above average in English, but pretty much like everything at school was always a breeze. You know, one of those kids who like didn't really have to do the homework to understand the curriculum. Had to basically pay attention, show up for tests, and I was basically fine the entire time. I had a very, very big ego when I was a kid because I felt like I was invincible. Go to Q's apartment? Yeah, let's do that. I felt like I was invincible, and, you know, for years I basically was when it came to, like, I kind of felt like I was like the main protagonist in an anime where I was like, the rules don't apply to me, I'm made of something special. I was not made of something special. The problem I had with public school was, you would constantly be told, like, hey, next year this isn't going to work if you keep doing this. You're going to have to learn how to study and, like, develop any sort of school skills besides just, like, paying attention and only sometimes paying attention. And I was like, yeah, all right. And then the next year would come and it would be exactly as easy as the year before. And I was told that literally all the way through school. Oh, yeah. Nishikiyama is Kiryu's best friend. He's still in the Yakuza, but you guys are still buds. And he's on your side, but it's kind of torn in the middle with the family and with your own team's loyalty. Yeah, 何も。
そうか。でもお前が生きて戻ってきたの見てから、またすげえ勢いで冷麺食ってたよ。
I'll try to talk over this because you can read the entire thing and it's not like you can understand the Japanese anyway. And if you can, you're rad. But yeah, basically, yeah, I would be told that, like, oh, next year you're gonna have to, like, learn how to study and you're gonna have to do better or else things aren't gonna work out as well for you. And then they always did, so I was like, fucking no, that's easy as shit. So then when I went to go to university for the first time, everyone's like, okay, seriously, it's really going to be hard this time. And I was like, yeah, alright, dumbasses, like, you've been telling me this for 12 years, why would this time be any different? Turns out, when you have no accountability, and nobody makes you go to school, and you don't go to your classes, school is really difficult. And it wasn't like I was taking like an easy class either. I went to take software engineering, a combination of electrical engineering and computer science, which was not very easy at all. And yeah, like I would go to like very occasional classes. I would just skip entire days sometimes, and you know, just It was a mess. I lasted one semester. I did not go back for a second one. I did end up passing one class miraculously, but I didn't really deserve it. It just kind of happened. So when I left school because there was no, they were gonna put me on academic probation immediately. They didn't actually kick me out immediately, which I was shocked by. But the amount of money that university costs in Canada, while nothing compared to the States, is not something you can like piss money into. It was like $7,000 to $8,000 a semester. It's gotten much worse since then. This was in like 2009. But goddamn, was that was a lot of money to just throw away. So my parents and I both decided that maybe it would be in our best interest if I came home, which was devastating for me because this was the first time that I was kind of faced my mortality, realized that maybe I wasn't just special and things wouldn't always work out the way that I wanted them to. And it was agreed upon that I would pay my parents back. Like they had paid for my entire first semester, so about $7,000, and it was agreed that I would pay them back. Which at the time I didn't have a job. I had worked all through high school, but I left working when I got out of school, so I could just focus on school. I'd changed cities too, so I would have had to have found another one anyway. And then I come back, and it was crazy. Like, okay, now I have to find a job, and I have to contribute in some regard. Also, I just realized I plugged in the microphone to talk to Chris for no reason because he's not here, but just habitually when I set things up, I do that. So I don't know why this thing is here, but I set it up. It's staying there until I'm done. Also, if it's distracting when I'm looking in weird directions that aren't at the camera or the TV, it's just because I'm finding it difficult not to just read the words. So it's easier if I'm just looking at the wall or at the candles. So I can do that. But yeah, basically I get back home and it's like I need to find a full-time job with like a decent pay. So I ended up working labor in a factory, 12-hour shifts at a tissue plant. And in order to like my parents let me live at home, but they were doing nothing else to help me. Like, this was like, you need to have a giant fucking life lesson. You're going to need to like figure your own shit out. You're an adult now and you're going to have to take care of this. We're not driving you to and from work anymore. And I did not have a car at 18. So this job was not close to home. And for about 4 months I was working in a tissue plant doing 12-hour days. But my actual days were about 16 hours because I had to take 2 separate buses in order to get there, get to work. The first bus, because the bus in my neighborhood wouldn't start running until too late to catch the bus I needed to get to the third bus to make it to work on time. I had to walk the route of the first bus in order to take just the second and third bus to get to work. So I was getting up at about 5 a.m. I had to be out of the house by 6, so I could walk about 40 minutes to get the bus at 6:40 to get, multiple buses to get to work for 8 o'clock. At 8 o'clock, I'd have to wait until 8:30. Like, I'd be done work. I'd have to wait until 8:30, take those same buses home. I'd get home around 10. And I'd have to immediately go to sleep in order to not be dead the next day. So days that I worked, I basically just worked. Worked in the factory, hating my fucking life for 2 months. Or for 4 months. 2 days on, 2 days off, consistently. The entire time. And then this was the work part, like all of the money I was making. I kept a little bit in save, for spending money, but not much, and all of that money was just going towards paying off a debt. So it wasn't even like I had like the benefit of like, oh man, look at how big my savings account is. It was just, hey, look at how this debt is going down. Which I did end up paying off in almost basically in that time. Like the money was good, but it was just, I've always been somebody who should accept Tachiban's offer. Hit the okay, yeah, just look around a little bit for him. Yeah, so I basically, I've always been somebody who thought that money, while important, obviously, to live, I would rather be poor and happy than rich and not. So this was not something that was going to work out long term. I ended up quitting that and getting a job at Costco for a couple of months, but I tried to do merchandising there, and I was not strong enough to do it. It was much closer to home. It was actually the 40-minute walk was basically to there, instead of it was at the same places where that bus stop was. So I basically made the same walk I've been making the entire time. But the issue was that that place does not do their stocking when they're open because they're a giant warehouse, so you have to do it before. So those shifts started at 4 a.m. So I was not awake when the rest of the world was. So I did that for a couple months before we parted ways. Which was their decision because, man, was I not quick enough at doing the job. And at that point, I decided I was going to go back to school. I paid my parents back, and I had made enough in savings that I could afford a semester of community college. Which I decided I want to go and take just electrical engineering. Which ultimately was kind of something where my parents were like, hey, this is something you might be interested in. And I was like, oh, fuck, I have to stop working. I would love to do that. Or stop working full-time anyway. So I did, and the first semester was really fun. I actually enjoy the concepts behind it, but school is not as much fun when you're doing like 12-hour days, which is something electrical engineering makes you do. So that didn't, like I was basically going to school full-time and working at Dairy Queen as a supervisor at Dairy Queen, which was by far the worst job that I've ever had. I was doing those at the same time. I was doing Dairy Queen on weekends, school during the week. Taking the fucking night. My boss was the worst human I'd ever met when it came to working for. Which was just one of those people who thought like, hey, you want to, I'm going to yell at you an equal amount whether you do well or not, because I think that's the only way to get respect out of people. And I was like, actually, if you just like treat me like a fucking human being and aren't like a complete dumpster fire garbage person to me, we'll probably get along great. And she was like, nah, I'm going to do the opposite of what you just said. That's what I think makes the most sense. Where the fuck am I supposed to go to get this Tachibana bullshit? I don't know, I was wandering around. So yeah, basically, I kind of was started slacking in school again, and I fucked at work. I tried really hard for the first year, but they didn't really teach me anything or do any training, and my standards were generally higher than my boss's. Because, you know, I would do crazy stuff, like refuse to sell burgers that had been cooked 7 hours previously. It's like, your food costs are terrible, and I'll just use burgers at 10, and I threw them out at 5. Your food costs are terrible. But, you know, nope, that was a really easy thing to blame me on. So, I kind of hated that. So I basically, you know, worked for my own, like, sense of accountability and didn't really give a fuck what my boss thought. Which, honestly, I don't really have any regrets on, because that job did not pay me nearly enough for the amount of work they were expecting me to do when I was there. And I would work there full-time, like, during school, but I was basically doing full-time or part-time schooling for about 3 years before I decided to stop going for good. So this was from about 2010 until about 2013, early 2013. I parted ways with Dairy Queen on not exactly amicable terms. We did not get along very well. This is a side quest that I am not going to be doing right now, because it's mostly just fun and that when you don't know what's going on, but when you do know the actual answers, it's not as much fun, like when you know what's going to happen. So, yeah, basically, during this time, I also, like, I don't know if I was depressed, because I hate when people just, like, throw that out there when they haven't been diagnosed, because, you know, I wasn't, and a lot of people do that, but there is this was definitely the lowest point in my life. I didn't have any friends in town, because everybody was going to school out of town, and then, like, you know, like, didn't really want to hang out with people from their high school when they got back. They had, like, other shit going on. So I had, like, one friend on and off who lived in town, whose name was Ryan, not the same Ryan from the channel, but he was in school on and off and not in town. So we get to hang out a lot during the summer and not a lot during not that. Really, the only friends that I had that I talked to consistently were people that I knew on the internet. Ryan and Chris, Ryan, like actual Ryan from the channel, and Chris being two of them. Noah, who runs the popular YouTube channel Polyphonic, being another one. A few other guys from a community like that. Current subscriber Jason Glasser was in that. There was this guy Damien from New Jersey who was a pretty cool dude. Oh, this lady teaches you a cool fight technique where you just go beast mode. She's like an actual badass lady. But yeah, basically that entire time, the only way that I was spending as much time as I could on the internet. I would get home from work and immediately just go hang out with these guys on the internet, which my mom thought was super weird, because I was living at home at the time. But it was fucking brutal. Oh, sorry. There was one other really important part that kind of came in that kind of made me a little bit give up with the school. So this was when I was 20, so it would have been 2011. My sister had just graduated high school and had gone on an exchange program to go to Sweden for a year. So I wasn't going to see her for a year. And we had gotten kind of close, like toward like after I graduated high school, and we kind of stopped being, children with each other. She's gone for a year, and then like 2 days later, my mom leaves my dad. So now I'm the kid with like divorced parents. It's super fucking weird at home. My mom's trying to sell the house that we've lived in since I was 5. My parents are not speaking to each other. I was not at all okay with it. I've gotten a lot better with that since, but goddamn was my mom. I was really mad at my mom, which ultimately I think that the decision she made was totally 100% justified. I'm pretty sure that both of my parents were a lot happier at the time, but I was not in the mood for any of that at the time. It was really, really tense to me and my mom for a while. I didn't really know how to get around my dad because what the fuck am I supposed to talk with you about? You're like the most vulnerable you've been, and I am not equipped for this. I've never been in any situation even remotely related to it. So basically, I just did not give a fuck. I existed on the internet. This is when I was like not really taking school very seriously anymore. Like I just didn't have it in me. I would even be there sometimes just not go to classes because I was just like, nope, I'm sitting in the study room and I don't want to fucking do anything. At work, I was present in body only and not in mind. Because I did not give, like I already was like kind of annoyed with them and didn't really give a fuck, but like this is when I really kind of let go. And other than that, internet, Ryan and Chris, the guys from that group, that's it. That's all I was doing. Move forward to about 2013. I'm done at Dairy Queen. I'm not in school at the moment, and I'm pretty much at a low point. I do spend like 6 weeks just not working and just playing League of Legends the entire time, and I'm not talking to those guys because I needed something to do, and that was like the closest I would get to feeling productive because I was getting pretty good at the game. Like at this point, I was probably in the top like 30% of players, maybe 40%, but nowhere near like the peak I got where I was like inside the top 10% of players in North America. But I could feel myself moving in that direction, and that was what I thought. Like I was like, oh, this is productive. I mean, maybe if I could have gone professional, it might have been productive, but it was nowhere near that. But that was what I would do with my time. At this point, I wasn't living with my mom; I was living with my dad, and I was super. Like, he was somebody who like was very old-fashioned with like you have to be productive and have a job. You have to be doing something meaningful. You can't waste all your time on games. Although there was a period of time where he had done the exact same thing, which I thought was a little bit hypocritical. No. But his house has rules, so I didn't really have an argument. There was not a balanced power dynamic in our relationship at this time, despite my adulthood. And then I eventually started working at the chalet, at the Swiss chalet. Things were getting a little bit better, but things got pretty tense. We're still pretty tense with me and my dad because outside of working, which I took a lot more seriously. But I had a goal. Like I was hired in takeout and I wanted to be a waiter because you make way more money, and it's like fucking easier. Oh, this is getting hardcore. Miss Tatsu's gonna fuck this guy up. I'll just take a quick break because this is fucking rad as shit. I love this fight style. She does not give a fuck. Break both of that dude's arms, claw across the face, and yep, you can cut people and do straight up wrestling moves. And Kiryu, that's right, that is rad. So, basically I worked for a little while, started saving up with a little bit of money, not a ton because I'm working for minimum wage plus tips, but takeout, nobody tips you, so I'd come out with like $12 a day, like doing a full day, and yeah, it took me a little while, but eventually things kind of hit a boiling point with my dad, and I was like, I can't live with you anymore. So I moved out on my own, got my own apartment, which was the one that I lived in up until I met Alex. It was a 0-bedroom bachelor apartment, but it came with everything included for $525 a month, which was fantastic for me because goddamn did I not have any money. And my landlord was really cool because I wasn't a drug dealer, which was a problem they had in the rest of the building. A lot of drug dealers in my building, but I just didn't talk to anybody who lived there, and everything was totally fine. I loved that apartment. It was a shithole, but it was like my shithole, and it was my first shithole, much in the same way that, like, when I got my first car, it was a terrible car, but it was my terrible car. There's like a sense of pride, because really I did end up, like, buying all that stuff on my own. Like, paying for that apartment was, like, something that I really loved, because I felt like I earned it. Outside of help with school the first time, and not even the later times, I haven't taken any money from my parents for anything since I was 16 and started working. I wanted to go to Europe. I paid for a trip to Europe at 16 by myself. I guess I was 17 by the time we left, but you know, like I worked for a year to pay for that shit. And still to this day, the only time that I've ever gone to my parents for anything money related was for the wedding. Okay, I'm working my way towards right now. Perfect match for this sort of scum. Okay, yeah, these guys are gonna stab for this tattoo. Yeah. So, throughout the years, with like at this point, I'm moving to the apartment. It's early 2014. Boy. So I've been talking to Ryan and Chris fairly frequently for about 3 years, and all of us have gone through different highs and lows during that time. Not to get into obvious specifics with each other because that's their business, and if they want to share that, that's cool. And if they don't, that's not. But like both of them have gone through different living situations, different situations with education, different jobs, some better, some worse. Sometimes employed, sometimes unemployed, sometimes fairly rich, sometimes fairly poor. But one thing that they were consistently, we were always, you know, all supportive of each other, and we always had time for each other, and that was really awesome. But ultimately, like, I spent like 2014 through 2015, I basically just spent all of my time. I basically just spent all of my time. This feels super loud. I basically just spent all my time working, hanging out with those dudes, and playing the fuck ton of League. And I didn't really have any sense of fulfillment. Like, I didn't feel like I was personally fulfilled because I was single, alone, and my only friends didn't live in the same city. And those guys are awesome, and those dudes, but there's a certain, you know, you still have a certain sense of loneliness when, you know, that a 10-hour Skype conversation will not have the same effect on as, you know, actually hanging out with somebody in person. And we all go in different parts of the country. Living in New Brunswick, by the way. Chris is in Ontario. Ryan's in Alberta. He's been in Alberta for years, but Alberta the entire time. So, fuck over there. Guys, I think my ass. I feel like this. Oh, right. That's the shit. Grab the tutorial where they can fight them if they want. I might actually die here. So yeah, we've all gone through those different stages of things, you know, better or worse, but ultimately I always felt like I was just kind of stalled in life. Like, I was making enough money, but I was blowing it, like, most of the time. Which, you know, like, not in like a way that I regret, because all those things I wanted to buy were things that I wanted to, you know, genuinely enjoyed having in life. But... Nice. Fuck out of those dudes. I need to go to a noodle shop, though. So yeah, basically, I ended up just, you know, working my way through life. Eventually, like, I you know, got that waiting job in early 2014, like, around the time that I got the apartment. So I could afford the things that I needed. And, you know, I would date here and there, but I wasn't particularly good at meeting women. None of the women who I worked with had any appeal to me because we are not of a similar ilk. A lot of them were either career waitresses, who were either too old for me, or career waitresses and around my age were not people that I think were of the same mental faculty as I am, for the most part. Or like the people who were identified a little bit more with, like, on an intelligence level, were younger, like, still in school, and, like, not appropriate to be dating when you're in your mid-20s. I didn't want to have a visit from Chris Hansen. What? Bacchus, can we just... She's like, she's going to teach you how to fight beast style if you go to this pier. And I'm like, alright, cool, I'll go to that pier. And then we're not going to go to that pier. Spoiler free, we're going absolutely nowhere near that pier. Stop trying. Okay, Bacchus, chill. We're not going to be your Rocky. It's just not going to happen, dude. It ends up happening, but not in this 2-hour period. So yeah, essentially I got the actual fuck kicked out of me. Is there food? Yeah, there's a beef restaurant over here. You don't move near this quickly, and I don't have any recovery items. I used them all before we started this thing the last time I played this game. So yeah, I end up, you know, meeting people through work, dating a few people, working a bunch, but basically not a lot going on. I do love that one. It feels really good. Trying to die on it. I'm paying attention to too many things at the same time. Okay. That is embarrassing. We still have those 0 HP, so oh nope, they gave me full HP. Now I feel like a failure. At this game specifically. I don't even care. I'm mad at it. And pretty great. There's something very satisfying about doing that. And punching that dude in the face. Excuse me, I have the hiccups. Yeah, so I tried doing like the online dating thing. I tried doing Tinder, but I don't really meet anybody that can have substance. Internet dating is fucking hard, and Tinder is not even that. It's just, you know, considering everything is based off of appearance, it ends up being one of the most shallow fucking experiences ever. And it's just, every girl has so many options that she's like, I don't give a fuck about anything to do with you, kind sir. I have so many options that I just don't need this. I just don't need this. So you know, you kind of go for a little bit, but then they would just kind of, you know, there's no real social protocol for how to handle those things. So if you're not on the exact same wavelength of what you're looking for, they'll just like stop talking to you. And it was just, you know, not great for my ego. But then one day in like late November of 2015, I matched with Alex. I came across her profile, and all of the things were immediately things that I wanted in my life. I have a huge thing for girls who have unnaturally dyed colors of hair, which in her pictures, her first three, one of her natural color, one of her with red hair, and one of her with purple hair. And I was like, fuck yes. So go down to that bio, and I don't remember it verbatim, but things that she said were like, I'm 5'11", and anybody who I meet has to be at least that, because I'm kind of shallow that way. And I'm like, I'm 6'1", that's not an immediate turn-off. And then she's like, and I love League of Legends. And I was like, oh, this is going to be probably okay, because she wouldn't put that in her bio if she didn't mean it. So basically, I had a really easy in, because at this point I was like mid to high tier gold in skill level, and anyone who's not familiar with that ladder system, it's only about halfway up the ladder, but it's like well within the top 20% of players. The lowest tier bronze is about 50% of the player base, so if you're anywhere above bronze, like, you look like a fucking god. Statistically, that was probably where her skill level was. Turned out it was probably lower than that when we started dating, because there were some things that I knew about that game that she did not, but we match. I see that we're at like at the maximum fucking distance, which I set myself to, because I wanted more people to show up on swipes, because I'm fucking stupid and thought that was a good idea. Turned out it actually ended up being a good idea, but like realistically probably wasn't actually smart, even if it worked out for me. Where the fuck? Okay, I'm just going through the square. So this girl lives about an hour and a half away from me, you know, like in a town that's about 15 minutes outside of a city that I was fairly familiar with. So I was like, oh, this will be fine. I matched with her, and she messaged me first, because basically the way that I was playing Tinder at this point, because I thought it was like really smart, you know, I was somebody who like, you know, can mess with you back, right? I don't want to just leaving your thing sitting there. It's like, but everyone's like, oh, you can look desperate if you answer right away. Like, you're going to have nothing else to do, and I was like, but I don't have anything else to do. So what I would do is I'd play League while I was doing the swipe thing, and then I would answer girls back in between games. So it'd be like as much as like 40 minutes to 50 minutes of between answering. It's like, oh, you look like you're being cool, calm, and collected about this, which was actually not the case. But she ends up messaging me while I'm playing, because like after we match, because I don't see it right away. Otherwise, I would have given her the instant like, hey, what's up? Because fucking yeah, I had that much self-control, and she's just like, oh hey, like how's it going and stuff. And I was like, at this point, I was somebody who, while I wasn't like full on into like gamer girl culture of like, oh I didn't mean to walk past this. I wasn't somebody who liked. This is like that side question, like that Elvis-looking dude who was calling us a rough so-and-so or whatever, who didn't really seem like he knew what he was doing. But essentially, I wasn't somebody who thought that there was like, that gatekeeping, like keeping women out of games was like a good idea, which a lot of people do. Personally, I don't understand the appeal. Like, actually, I understand where the desire comes from, but I completely reject the logic. But I was somebody who had come across girls who were like, I'm looking for nerds, and then like, no, you're just looking for a hot dude who wears glasses. Because when you get like actual nerd, you kind of scare a lot of them off, which is fine. I wasn't somebody who would get like bitter about it, but I had gone from like trying to be closeted about it, where like I would like just not tell girls that I was in games until later, and then they'd be like, ooh, I'm not into it too. I'm going to be upfront about this immediately because it's the most important thing in my life. Like it still is. Besides Alex, obviously, but I mean, like, hobby-wise, it's fucking games. Like, it's always going to be games. I've been playing games since I was a fucking kid. So, essentially, I was just, I was like, I'm going to be upfront with every girl that I talk to, and if they're cool with it, that's awesome. If they're not, at least I found out now, and I think no big deal. Which, I think was a perfectly valid way of doing things, because you don't give girls like a super hard time. I didn't want to be the guy who was like, I'm going to quiz you to make sure that you prove that you're nothing weird. I don't want to call you out of that, because that's really obnoxious, and as well, I did not notice at the time, really makes girls feel like shit sometimes, because they shouldn't have to prove themselves. It can be whatever your partner is, but nerds are dicks sometimes. We're not really good at social situations, so it turns out we don't do well socially. But basically I just like, I'm going to be really honest about this stuff immediately. So Alex had specifically mentioned League in her bio. So she's like, hey, what are you doing? And this was like November 2015, right before a giant patch was dropping, or had just dropped. And they, like, I was literally in the middle of reading the patch notes, because I stuff at the time, like, I was like, oh, I need to know what's happening in order to be optimal at getting into the game. So, I love this move. Keep your eye on the birdie, and then you punch him into the garbage can. It's pretty fucking bad. So, I was honest. I was like, oh, actually, I'm reading the patch notes right now. And then I figured, like, that was kind of going to give me a, well, I wasn't, like, testing her. Like, I was going to understand, like, what if she was supporting that. She was like, oh, like, that's not, like, really going to mention that right after that? I was like, okay, you're not really somebody that I'm interested in continuing to dialogue with. We'll both go our separate ways. But she seemed like she was into it. We talked, like, a little bit about stuff, because she was like, oh, I hadn't seen them. And I was like, oh, well, basic stuff. And basically, I asked her that night, I was like, hey, do you actually want, like, after the patch installs, do you want to play, like, a game or two together? And she's like, oh, I don't, like, we can, but I'm not very good. And I'm like, oh, I don't really care. Like, I'm just, I have my competitive games and I play seriously, but if it's just for fun, like, I don't give a fuck. We could lose every game. And I actually meant that. Like, I had a difference between competitive and non-competitive games. At the end of the day, games are also supposed to be fun, and there's time for being competitive and time for not. And games have a separate queue for being competitive. Maybe that's the time to be competitive. So, why is this dude? Great to tee him up. Baseball swing. Kiryu's a cool motherfucker. So yeah, I go like, hey, we should play a game together. And she was like, oh yeah, sure. I was gonna play with one of my friends, but you can join us if you want to. And I was like, fuck yeah. So we exchanged Skype information. I log out of the game, call her on Skype. She's talking to this other dude who I actually didn't realize this at the time, but was also like a mutual acquaintance of a friend of mine who I worked with at the time. Still sort of work with, but he's at a different branch of the chalet. But I could tell right off the bat that this dude was super into her and super in the friend zone. So I was like, okay, this is gonna be totally fine. I got this. So we get like right off the bat in the first game. I don't know if anyone's familiar with me, but this is like a little bit important story with the breakdown position. At the time I was playing a lot of jungle, which is like a roaming, like help out everybody on the map position. Probably the most tactical of them. And she played AD carry, which is basically somebody who sits there and gets babysat for 20 minutes before they're useful at all, because they're super useless at the start of the game, but they're super useful later, and they have a role of a person called support who basically doesn't get any money and they just have to babysit you. And this other dude was with her played mid lane, which was like the other carry, but they're a little bit more useful. Before the AD carries get useful, they don't take as long before they get going. So, we're playing like against such low skilled players. I can play literally anything, come out looking like a god. So it's like, oh, I'll just play support. We'll have a good time together. I want to be on your screen the entire time that we're playing together as we run around and do stuff. And I can tell right off the bat that this other dude is terrible, like dog shit terrible. But I'm like, I'm not gonna call him out of his shit. I'm gonna come out making everybody look really great. So we play and we're getting stomped. I'm still looking like a god, and I'm like really not subtly trying to make myself look like she doesn't really know anything about me besides, you know, basic pictures of myself from like 2013, because I don't take that many pictures of myself. But you know, outside of that, personality-wise, she doesn't really know anything about me. So the characters I'm playing are like gigantic muscle dudes. Who are like really good at saving people, because it's like, oh, this is perfect. She's gonna like attribute these signals with me, like these situations with me, and I do end up like, you know, saving her for a couple times. We go for plays that do and don't work. Whenever the other dude fucks up, without criticizing him, I mention, I'm like, oh, well, that's not like that was a good idea, but that would only work like didn't work because you're super fucking weak as shit right now. Like I didn't say it like that, but like basically like, yeah, well, you executed that perfectly, but you just don't have the items and the goal that you needed for it to work out. So, you know, basically just like, you shouldn't have gone for that, dumbass. You don't have any money because you're playing like terrible. Which was true, but I wasn't gonna like outright be a dick about it, because they were still friends and she didn't fucking know me. So we get through like 2 games and this dude's just like fucking out, because immediately, like, I'm like, from playing with like the lowest amount of gold, I'm like having the greatest impact on the team, and he's not prepared for this. She and I played like another game or 2. And then we just end up sitting there chatting for like the entire night. And I'm like, this girl is amazing. And then we do that for an entire week, where unless she's in school or I'm at work, we're either texting or on Skype talking the entire time. We don't really end up playing that much more League at the time, because we were more interested in getting to know each other as people. And I was fucking like head over heels for her immediately. I didn't know that she was going to end up being my future wife, but you know, that's where we're at 2 years later. But once we kind of have a discussion I'm in a hurry. You guys can fuck off. Yeah, I'll do this later on my own. Where the fuck am I going? I've just been kind of wandering around, but that's alright. This is kind of more of it's a differently paced episode, because I don't have time for it to be done like a proper showcase. So yeah, I'm talking to Alex like all the time, all of my free time. I'm not doing anything else. I'm going to work, she's going to school, and other than that, we're talking. We're staying up like way too fucking late, not sleeping nearly enough, and I'm trying to be like, you know, really sweet, because we're just like an hour and a half away, so like very reasonably and easily she could have been like, I don't have time to make this thing work, and she would have totally right. She was in school full time in her last year of university, taking a degree in English and a minor in forensic anthropology, which is not an easy course. But we, you know, we end up setting like a date for like the next week when my days off are coming around, and I'm like, yeah, well, I'll come down and we'll go on a date. Because I was like, oh, like, you know, after like a couple of days of talking, I was like, I'm gonna be honest, like I'm interested in you. You seem like a really cool person, and I would like to make this work. And she felt the same way. So we set a date. And Alex is somebody who has a lot of anxiety, which I did not really know at the time, because, you know, she was a lot, see you, Mr. Shakedown, get the fuck out of here. So right off the bat, she starts getting anxious because she just wants the date to come around. And, like, she wasn't, like, having second thoughts or anything, but, like, she was just, you know, things were bothering her a lot, you could tell. So this was on, like, a Wednesday. I had the Wednesday and Thursday off this week, and then next week we had the date scheduled for the Wednesday. And she's just, like, super nervous and anxious and just wants it to be done with. So here's me, waking up Thursday morning. I go, you know what? I should just drive to her city, this girl that I've never met before, and surprise her, and then she won't have time to be anxious about it. I'm sure that there's absolutely no way that I could be construed as a stalker or serial killer if I do this. She's probably going to think that's totally spontaneous and romantic. Because I'm a fucking idiot. Which she did actually end up thinking that was really sweet and romantic, but everybody else was like, you're a fucking lunatic. Her family was mildly concerned. Not super concerned after they got to know me, like, even that day, but like, off the bat, it was skeptical. Because basically, we're texting when she's in school. I'm like fucking driving there. Nervous as fuck, because I'm like, driving down on a Thursday. I have to work the next day. I've driven an hour and a half with no plan of where I'm staying, no plan of doing anything. Outside of just like, hey, give me a call when you get home, I've got a surprise for you. She fucking gets home, and I was like, oh, I'm in your town. And she's like, what? I was like, yeah, I figured this would be better. Right? Because, I laid out my thought process, and she's actually thought it was really sweet, and surprisingly, I have no idea why she thought that was a good idea. It was a terrible idea, but, I could have been literally anybody. We've been talking for a week. And, nope, she thought it was really sweet and romantic. She was nervous because she hadn't cleaned her bedroom. But that was fine, because I was so nervous that I went to go sit in a Dairy Queen parking lot. I got something to eat once I got there, and I was so nervous that I locked my keys in the car. So I had to wait a little bit for a tow truck to come and jack open my car, which cost me about $50. But that gave her time to clean her room. Oh, this is actually the part I think I'm supposed to be doing now. Great. So I get to her place. She has to give me directions because I don't know where it is. I wasn't like that crazy. Like I went to the town. It's only a town of like 15,000 people. That meant I was like 5 minutes away, no matter where it could have been. I didn't like show up, like figure out where her house was and show up there, because that would have been fucking crazy pants to do. And I didn't want to be that guy, so I wasn't that guy. But yeah, basically I thought that was a good plan. So I get to her house. She meets me outside. We meet on the steps of her house, and I was like, she like basically jumps into my arms, like she was like 2 feet up, like jumps down, and we're hugging. And I'm like, oh fuck yes, this girl is amazing. And she waits. We go upstairs. We hang out for like most of the night. She's still living with her parents at this point because she's fucking broke as shit. She's in school, so she didn't have any money and needed to live at home in order to be able to pay for school, because she was paying for it all on her own, while working as much as she could. So we hang out for most of the night. We end up driving around a little bit, but her parents are like pretty strict on like you can't have boys over super late. So we end up going out for a little bit until her parents go to bed, sneak back in, because at this time my plan was just to drive home, but I stayed there like super late because of course I would. That's totally a thing that you won't do when you're having a great time with a girl who's like immediately great. And I did not think through an exit strategy. So I'm there, and it's like way too late to drive home. I've never driven on the highway in the dark, which does not have street lights, and is fucking terrifying. I didn't end up doing it that day, but when I did do it for the first time, we go down to see her. Goddamn, was that the most horrifying thing I've ever done in my life. I got used to it eventually, but it was not fun when I did do it the first time. So I ended up not doing that. I get a hotel, which you generally need credit cards for, or they take like a $200 deposit, which turned out to be all of the money that I had. So I ended up getting a hotel that night. She goes to school for a very brief amount of time. She only had like a couple hours of classes the next day, and then she comes back, and we end up hanging out at her place until like an hour and a half before I have to be at work, which is not enough time to drive an hour and a half home, shower, get dressed, drive to work. So I sped in order to do that. On this trip, she's exactly who I thought she was. Everything that I wanted in a girlfriend. So I asked her the day that we met if she would be my girlfriend, even though we've been talking for like a week. She says yes, and again, is not freaked out by it. And then, yeah, basically we spend every free minute that we can seeing each other. On the weekends, she would drive to my apartment. She had her own car. I had my own car. She spent as much free time as she had. Like she spent weekends at my apartment, and then I would be with her the entire time, except for when I was at work. I'd usually have days off together in the week, so during the week, I'd drive to her parents' place, hang out there. find ways to entertain myself while she was in class, and then otherwise we were spending like every waking minute together there. And we did this back and forth for like a fucking year. It was probably like, no, it was a little less than a year, I guess. It was from November 2015 until September 2016, when she moved here. Like, we basically spent our entire lives together, or if we were working, and we were still like talking all the time. There was, different times where it was like a little bit less because we were reasonable people, like when she was in the middle of exams. Basically, I just told her, I was like, hey, except for when I'm at work, call me whenever you can and want to, and otherwise, don't fucking worry about it, because this is like the end of your schooling, and you need to pass this shit, because you're like so close. So if you can't talk to me for 2 days outside of like quick text, that's totally fine. Because I'm not, a fucking monster. Like, the entire world does not revolve around me. So, but yeah, like, we get towards like the start of the summer, and I'm like, we should fucking, like, you should, like, move here, and we should live together. Which was, actually, hang on, let's back that up a little bit, because I wasn't just like, you have to move here, but, carrying on a relationship in this manner was not the most fun way to do things, because I had spent all my free time driving. When we were living together, I didn't, have any, like, on my own time, which is something I valued a lot. Like, it was difficult to do because I like to have a little bit of time on my own, even to this day. Like, we live together now, it's, I do a lot of recording stuff at night. It's nice to be up a little bit later and kind of do my own thing. And then go to bed, or, working, like, we work opposite schedules, which sucks, but, like, having, like a couple hours on my own in the morning / afternoon is really nice. I'd like it if it was, a little bit more crossover in the time we were working, so we had a little bit more time together, but that's not how that works right now. But, we make do as is while we're trying to make worth your money. But yeah, basically, the only, like, I ended up spending like most of my free time there. I was still playing like a little bit of League, but not nearly as much. This was like one of my bigger regrets with that, is that I didn't have nearly as much time for Ryan and Chris. We were the occasional Skype messages, but like never talking anymore. Because I was, the days where I'd be free and we'd be talking for 10 hours, I'd be in Ormukto. And the couple hours, we were spending like 4 days a week together, basically. And if she was at my apartment, and the one fucking room apartment, I wasn't going to just be like sitting in a different part of the room having a Skype conversation with these other dudes, because that's fucking rude. But yeah, so basically, like, I wasn't a particularly good friend for those couple months. I wasn't like, malicious or mean or anything, but I wasn't really around. Which was whatever. Like, they were really cool about it when I eventually ended up having free time and coming back, and I'm super happy about that, because those guys are still two of my closest friends in the world. But that was probably like the biggest regret that I had with that. They were pretty understanding, and like that I didn't have the time. Like, this was a woman that I was fucking madly in love with, and I needed to make sure that I dedicated the time to, because at the time, like, she's literally everything that I wanted and needed in life. And also, I thought I had, like, I was of the opinion, I still kind of deal with this like a little bit, but I think that Alex can do like a lot better if she wanted to. I'm a fucking waiter who like makes YouTube videos that almost nobody watches and nobody, I don't make any money off of. She has a fucking government job that she has earned on her own with a degree, and has a lot of life skills. She's a very smart person. I still don't exactly understand why she picks me. I mean, I do, but these are things that I guess I kind of undervalue the things that I bring to the relationship a little bit. She had a very bad history of dating men before me, and they kind of treated her like garbage, and I don't treat her like garbage. But I don't really like think that I should get props or bonus points for that. I'm just like, that's just how things should be. That's how people should treat each other. It's weird, because I'm kind of a dick with people I don't like, but I'm like super loyal and good with people that I do. Not that I can't be harsh with people that I care about. Not so much with her, but like, friends with other people, like when I have expectations out of them, but she, like, I'm like fiercely loyal to people who have my back, and I'll have theirs, and I'll do anything for them. Excuse me. I'll do anything for them. So these guys are not doing that cool. They're gonna get fucked right on. Black and go agent today on these motherfuckers. See one move. No, that wasn't the move. Maybe still have but yeah. Alex, you better. Oh yeah, she just, you know, she. I just don't treat her like garbage, and I don't necessarily maybe value that enough. I'm supportive of her. I try to make sure that I push her, but not, you know, too much, because I don't want to be, you know, like, I want her to do all that she can to be as successful as she can be, but I also don't want to, you know, destroy her fucking mental health and like boss her around, because that's not, one, the person that I want to be, and two, she doesn't fucking deserve to be treated like that. Yeah, but, oh, there's one bar left, yeah. So yeah, basically I come back, like, we start living together in the apartment that we're in now. I kind of adjust to living with another person, and after a couple months I start talking to Ryan and Chris again, making my free time. At this point in my life, I should clarify that I feel fucking fantastic about my personal life. I'm like, this is the fucking woman I want to marry. I'm gonna, like, I'm building a partnership. I'm learning so much about her. I'm learning so much about life. I got a way more intelligent in my perspective of, you know, the differences between men and women. And Babs, stop messing with that cord. I did not get better at being nice to cats, because I fucking don't like cats, including this one. But that's Babs for you.
店ならまだ準備中だよ。
立花不動産の話を聞きに来たんだが、あんたここの店の
店長だけど、もしかして人生一家の人？
Basically, I still felt like I was a little bit unfulfilled with my professional life, because I'm still just waiting tables, you know, not really doing much of anything. I'm still playing a fuck ton of League and trying to get better at that, but, you know, that didn't really feel like a real solution. That just more felt like something I was doing in my free time. And then one of the things that Ryan, Chris, and I did is we did do a lot of podcasts, but they were just like, you know, like a fun side thing we were doing for like this online community. And excuse me a moment, I have to get the cat off my desk.
さっき言ってた人生一家っての
Stay off the desk, Babs.
登場会の4次団体でこの店のケツ持ちしてたヤクザ。毎月きっちり見込み料を取ってた次よ。立花不動産に追い払われちまって。
She doesn't do it with the chairs there, but I'm sitting in the chair.
片毛相手に
So
知
I
り
don't
そう
like using the
ああ。
loungy chair for showcase.
このビルの
Too
他の
far
店
into
は
it.
もう立花不動産に立ち退かされたのか
And you can't see me on all of my glory.
ある時急に立花不動産が来て、
Yeah,
こ
we
の
do
ビルの
podcasts with
オー
an
ナー
online
になったか
community
ら
to get
全員
points
出
for
て
like,
けってさ。
you know, like a
中には
role-playing
立
thing.
花不動産って聞いただけで店
And
閉
one day
め
we're in
る
the
や
middle
つ
of
だ
it.
って。
We're like, we should just do
残ってん
podcasts
の
all the
は
time.
うちだけ。
Like, we should start a YouTube channel, just do a bunch of podcasts about stuff in life. And then we just literally in the middle of
家
this
族で
other
店に
cast
住んでる
start planning out
住
a
む場所
podcast
別にす
channel,
る余裕なんてないからね。
which is
神さんは
actually how we got our
ビルに
start
住み着い
here.
てるホームレスが怖いって
We picked the name Pajodcast
奥か
Media
ら出て
because
こ
the
なくなった
the
よ。
podcast we did was called the
連中よこし
Pajodcast
たのも立
because
花
it
不
was
動産
named
の
after
嫌
one
が
of
ら
Ryan's
せ。
players in this
ホームレスにビルの中で小便させ
in
たり、
this like role-playing
大
thing.
声わめかせたり。
Rono Pajari.
心理まで
So
出
it's
し
like,
や
oh,
が
the
る。
Pajodcast, that's funny. And
立
then
花
we
不
were
動
like,
産の人
yeah,
間
we're
も
going to
毎
talk
日
about
来
all
る
sorts
の
of
か
media, so it's going to be Pajodcast Media.
最近来るのは無言電話だけ。
Then we started
夜通し何百回ってかかってくる。
Babs.
誰
Then we started doing a bunch of, then we started doing a bunch of podcasts. We're doing like 4 a week. We're going to have a games podcast, and we're going to have
立花不動産だ。
a movies podcast. We're going to have a sports podcast. We're going to have a politics podcast. Which are like the earliest videos that you look for on the channel. You'll find those controls and keyboards, feedback, and filibusters.
入れてやってくれねえか連中と話してみた
Sequels and spin-offs. I had like this weird thing for alliterations and like and
何があっても俺が守っ
blank
てやる
and blank as a format for names.
わかった。
And yeah, if you what was the other one? Champions and challenges with the sports one. That's right. So yeah, we do those for a couple of for like a couple weeks, a couple months. We had gotten like so it was me, Ryan, and Chris in the beginning. We decided early on because none of us had any experience with the way that stuff worked that we wanted to get Shane in, who was at this point like somebody who I had spoken with a little bit
うちは出て行きませんよ。
super often, but he had been Ryan's roommate in the
そう
past. We were
は言っ
like
ても
best friends.
このビルはもうう
He'd
ちが
always
オー
been
ナーになって
cordial
る
with
わけだ
us.
し
Shane
勝
is
手な
is
都合を
actually a
並
very
べ
cool
て居
dude.
座られちゃ困っちゃうん
And
だよ
then he
な
he showed us how to do everything. Like, work with Hang Up, how to make a podcast, how to do basic editing. He was the one who owned Premiere first. Taught me how to use it a little bit. When I told him that we wanted to move into doing Let's Plays and game features and stuff, it was mostly just going to be a little bit more casual stuff in the beginning. But we wanted to move into full Let's Plays. Shane showed me a little bit of stuff with Premiere, gave me access to the software, which he paid for like a year for some reason. He couldn't afford to do it, and then I was like, oh, I'll pay for that because I have free money, and I'm the one who uses it all the time, so I should be the one paying for it. But yeah, we started doing game playthroughs, moving into that. I slowly started trying to get better at it. Bad, off the table. Sorry, I'm sure this is very distracting, but one of the downsides of a tiny apartment, I do not have an enclosed space that is just for the cat.
生瀬さんの代わりに取り返しておきましたよ。極道から金を取り立てた。
Everything's gonna be cool.
あんたらがか。
200万。
Yeah, so Babs.
うちの社長から気持ちとしてプラス。
Yeah, so we started doing that stuff, and I realized like Shane was originally the one doing all the editing of everything, but like when we were still in the podcast stage. But he didn't really have the free time after we went back to school. And I was like, oh, I'll fill it in and start doing that stuff. And I realized how much fucking fun it is and how much I love it. How satisfying it is to do a good job on a video. And I realized after I was like, this is what I fucking want to do. I don't necessarily care if Babs, get out of that court. She's always antsy when we're doing these ones specifically. Normally when I'm recording regular shit, she's just like totally chill and does not give a fuck. But not the case right now.
もうこれ以上ごねてもあんたのもらいは増えませんから。
Yeah, Babs, fuck, why do I keep saying Babs? Oh, shit. I forgot how rad this cutscene is, just...
見えすぎた芝居しやがって。金の問題じゃなかったら何の問題だ。こら。
I'm gonna spray you again if you don't chill out. Just jump up there and hang out. Okay. Yeah, I realize how much fun it is, and I'd love to have a job that I can pay our bills with. If that's through the channel, that'd be awesome. If I end up picking up, like the experience I need to get a job somewhere like Giant Bomb or Polygon, fucking Waypoint, one of the places like that would also be cool. But there's something really fun and enriching about doing this with my friends, even though we don't really have that much attention now. This is like when I started doing this is when I started feeling fulfilled professionally too. Because while I don't make any money, like the creative side of things is basically all us, which a lot of things have kind of fallen into my lap that way. Ryan and Chris are still always like, they still have tons of ideas and we still talk about them a lot. But when it comes to like, the day-to-day, like what goes into the videos and stuff, that's all me. So while they'll decide on like features or whatever, like the way that they get executed technically is kind of on my side of things. A good example being
今時こんな街で妙な正義感に匂わせちゃ命が危ないよお兄さん
I'm actually, because we're in the middle of the scene, I'm just going to leave this running and pop real quick, and I'll be right back. あんたこの店閉めて出ていくのか
出てけと言われてさっさと出てった連中ばっかだ。
This one's going to be drank warm.
辛抱を重ねりゃこういうボーナスが出てくるってんだよ。
There we go. Yeah, so a good example of that is the E3 coverage that we did this week. It was Ryan's idea to do E3. We did do it last year, but it was still like a podcast thing because that was what we were doing, and we didn't really have the technical wherewithal to do any better, but I've learned a lot of shit over the last year. So, fuck, every time she runs by that, I get scared. But, yeah, essentially, this year I was like, we can do better with this. Like, Ryan was like, do you think there's any way we can have Babs? I'm gonna have a fucking panic attack. If she knocks this webcam over. Because I know we can have the press conference be on the screen and our faces there while we react to it. And yeah, we totally could. I figured out a way to do it, which was a giant pain in the ass, by the way, because I'm sure there's better ways to do it. But having someone else's YouTube video be on there, while we have our faces and the audio from us at the same time as the stuff, turned out to be difficult because nobody else had the ability to record themselves. We ended up not having time to get with Chris at all because of the way that, things synced up. We wanted to have things done as quickly as possible. And even with me working basically around the clock outside of being at my actual job and sleeping, it still took us a fucking week to finish them. But essentially I recorded, me and Ryan would walk them synced up together. I would record both of our faces, the one that Shane joined us on. I just did the audio for everybody. And the same thing with Ryan. And then with OBS I would capture my face and like a shitty version of the audio that's coming on my desktop, so like, the sound of the press conference and a shitty version of my mic talking, and then obviously I get like a shitty version of Ryan because it was all audio coming on my desktop. We would record Ryan's face in Google Hangouts, and then get a good version of both he and I talking, and then afterwards I would go and run OBS with a timer set for the length of the when we started and ended the press conference. Those videos, they're like 3-hour videos, and we only need like an hour and a half each of them or whatever, right? So I wrote down the timers for that, and then I would like start a timer and run it with with the audio coming out of it, with my speakers turned off, but with the audio coming out of it, full blast, and then take all those files, put them together in Premiere, and then sync up the times, so I could have like good audio matched up to, like from each thing, match up the shitty audio that was everything, and then be like, okay, well that means that my two good audios are in the same moment. So when I'm reacting to a thing, I know that's exactly what's happening while we were watching it, like within a second. And I'm sure that there's better ways to do that, but considering we didn't really have that much free time for planning because we do fucking 14 videos a week, which is a lot of videos. It's 2 a day. Considering all of us have jobs, it's hard to do sometimes. So Ryan and I pounded those out over the course of like 2.5 days, and then everything that wasn't recording was either doing that like side recording thing, which I would basically do with I would do those when Alex was home, so I wasn't like wasting a ton of time doing like actual editing, but I was like, okay, I need like 10 minutes to go set this thing, and then it's good for like an hour and 30 minutes, and then okay, I need another 10 minutes, and then it wasn't like that bad. But then when I would go to export, like to edit videos, they would take forever to export because I was essentially running 3 videos at a time, like, each of our faces and the press conference. So normally when you record a video, for every like hour of the video, it's about 15 minutes to do. 30 minutes of doing a little like when we're share playing and one of the other guys is playing, because it's only in 720p, but I think it's in 1080, which is what I was running everything in. From my own end, it's about 50 minutes for every 60 minutes of video. But when you're doing 3 of those together, it triples the time. So like the longer press conferences would take like 5.5 hours to export. So it would basically take an entire night. Like I couldn't do anything else with my computer then because, I had to. Probably Public Park 3. That's actually the thing I'm supposed to be doing. Yeah, basically, that's why that took so long. That's why we were only getting 1 or 2 a day. That's all I had time to do between Monday and Tuesday. I had 3 times I wasn't working those days, but we spent all the time, all the day parts of that time doing the recording. Because obviously we had to sit and watch those. In the moment, I had to sit down and Ryan, nothing about the tech side of things, which none of that comes naturally to me yet. So, this is my favorite move. This is my favorite move. Yeah, it's so great. This game is so good. Yeah, that's why we only got Nintendo up. Sony got last night. I mean, earlier tonight for me, but last night for anyone who's watching this on Sunday. But yeah, so like I guess the entire point of that side thing, sorry, was that like the other guys will have some creative input, but like the way that things get done is kind of decided by me because I'm the one who knows the most about that stuff now. Like, well, I don't consider myself an expert in the field in any regard or how any of that stuff works. Of the four of us, I'm the one who knows by far the most. So it kind of that stuff all on me. Basically, what we can and can't do is based off of my abilities, which is like a little bit of pressure because I don't want to let those guys down by being like too suck at something. But yeah, like, since we've been doing this, I felt a lot better. My creative side of things. There's been some high and low points with it. Like I've forced myself to stick through it, and sometimes where I was like, "This is fucking," I go through like 2 or 3 bad recording days. The episodes wouldn't be that interesting, or people watching would know that like there were some early ones where Ryan and I would bicker quite a bit because we had different ideas of how things were meant to be done, and we hadn't been particularly good at communicating those with each other. Things have gotten much better since then. I should clarify. Obvious. Those guys are a fucking joy to work with. I love working with each of them. I hope that our schedules allow for us to start doing 3-man stuff a little bit more. But right now, Chris is available at night. Ryan's available during the day. I am a little bit available in both of those, and that's when we kind of fit things in. So it's kind of difficult to get everyone together for something. Outside of like odd one-offs here and there. But yeah, like those, it's been like a real joy to do this, and it makes me feel good on the creative side of things. And even though we're not really getting the views that we want, I'm proud of the product that we're putting out. And one of the cool things that happened was that I don't know what the fuck happened with it, but the Microsoft video just popped the fuck off. Like we're at 32 subscribers now, which is a career high for us. We've never had that many, which is like nothing compared to a lot of channels, right? Like that's not gonna do anything. But I don't know what the fuck happened, but somehow that Microsoft video popped the fuck off, and it's gotten over 500 views. I posted it in a few places because, I'm proud of it, and I think that the E3 videos are the absolute best technical work that we've done. The way that they look, the way they're presented, a lot of really cool shit happened. Well, that stuff, I've gotten inspiration from future places, but ultimately, it's like, oh, cool, I figured out how to do this so that this looks like this. And I'm proud of it. Oh, this guy wants a bribe of liquor. Yeah, you want some booze. Alright, dude.
わかった。ただその前に一つだけ聞かせてくれ。あんたらの中で立場
He's not going to bribe people who haven't actually done the stuff.
なるほど。
酒なら何でもいいって。それぞれの好みに合った酒じゃん。
Oh yeah, yesterday they had to run all over the fucking place and give them. Talk to each of them and get their fucking orders. Alright, just go through this. So yeah, I don't exactly know what happened. We've gotten like mixed reviews with it so far. It's over 500 views and we're, like 7 likes and 6 dislikes, which is like way more than we ever get in either of those. Like our next highest video, like 5 likes. We don't usually get that many dislikes, but when we're getting exposed to new people, I expect that's a good thing. Even channels that are objectively fantastic will still run into that issue, like Polyphonic. Shout out to Noah from Polyphonic. Like, he'll get people who will just be objectively wrong about certain things. You can't even make an argument for what they're saying. Which is like, we kind of hit that in like some of those things. We've gotten some encouraging things. We've gotten some not so encouraging things. But for some reason, like all of it feels good. Like when someone hates, I'm just like, yes, let the hate flow through you. These games aren't at all like each other. And I'm like, oh, actually the comparison that we made was because they were made by the same developer. Idiot. Like I didn't say that in the comments because I'm not a tool. Because I was smart enough to not say it in the comments. But realistically, I kind of am. But it's like, oh cool, like we're getting notoriety. And I don't know if the other ones will pop off that way. Ryan had suspected that the Microsoft one did because Microsoft and Sony are the most popular ones out there, and the Sony one hasn't yet because that one just went up earlier today, but it's been doing very well for like a one-day thing, and maybe it'll get the same kind of traction. But man, if we could start getting to a point where I could stop working at the restaurant and just start doing this, that would be fucking rad. I'd be into it. But yeah, and I guess that was I kind of skipped a little bit forward there. Oops, I'll get. Oh, I can't get more than one thing, that's why. Give me a beer, give me that, and then let's go get those other guys there. Shit. I was not paying nearly close enough attention, so I'm just going to run back in between getting in their orders and doing their thing. But yeah, so obviously anybody who's watched anything knows that Alex and I are now engaged, because I figured out pretty fucking early on that I was like, this woman will be my wife someday. The only thing I wanted to be careful of was, will we be able to work together, or live together? Work together was not important at all, because obviously, you live with somebody, makes having a relationship kind of difficult. I wanted to live with the person that I was, partnered with, and while that has had certain challenges that I've had to get used to, which I did not have when I lived alone, because it was just like, well, fuck you, this is my place, I'll do whatever I want. Not fuck you with her. Fuck you in general, like, hey people, I'll live how I want to live. That's my own prerogative. Here's your beer, sir. Thanks, man. So there was what did you have? Peach, sweet potato soju, sake. Okay. Sweet potato soju, sake, champagne at Don Quixote. Okay. And scotch. Okay. Did they have scotch at the last one? No, I'm good. Yeah, so we lived together for a little while, went through those trials and tribulations, and I was like, I'm fucking marrying this girl. So, I spent, I knew that we had talked, in general about it, but I had never given specifics. I wanted it to be a surprise. I didn't want to be like, oh, I'll just, you're going to know exactly what's happening, and that's going to totally ruin the fun of it, because, oh, fuck yeah. Just get that, and that's all that I need. Why is that so cheap? You're welcome, lady. Champagne, sweet potato soju, and scotch. That's what I need still. So yeah, we had talked a bit in general, and she wanted it to be, she wanted her family to be there for the moment where I did it, which is the exact opposite of how I wanted to do it. I would have loved for that to have been a just us moment, because I'm not somebody who's great at, I can do it with her, but being, vulnerable and emotional in front of other people is fucking hard. The closest I actually get is when I'm doing things with videos, which even then I'm still pretty, showing any sort of weakness is, it's so hard to just not get stuck in these cutscenes for side quests. They want to buy a video game that's going to get stolen. Fuck, no. Nope. Okay, this one doesn't actually force you to do all the... Wait, are they actually going to force me to do this before I get to walk into the Don Quixote? God damn it. Oh, wait. No, maybe it'll just let me in. Okay, cool. So do you have the champagne that I require? Yes, you do. Cool. Thanks, bro. Scotch and sake. Yeah, so she wanted to be in front of her family, which obviously I was going to do it that way, but that's kind of hard. But that's also, in a different city, because... Oh, fuck, yeah. Real quick backup. The reason we picked here wasn't because I was like, I'm not moving. It was because she didn't want to live in the city that she lived in and didn't have a job there that she was attached to, and I did, and I did. So we were like, this is pretty easy. If you don't want to live there and I do want to live here, pretty fucking easy decision about where we're going to want to live. She just moves here and everybody fucking wins. Excuse me, sir. This is not acceptable behavior. I'm going to beat the stuffing out of you guys. Yeah, so basically we were going to have to do it on a day where we were at a parents' place. And I decided that I wanted to do it on the steps of her house because that's where we met the first time, and I was like, fuck yeah, this is, you know, I also like just like the aesthetically the way it looks, like, and she was at the top of those steps and I was at the bottom. One, that's exactly the way that we met, and two, like, you know, the levels, like, that's pretty dope. So I did that. So I decided that I'm going to do it. I talked to her parents, get their permission, because I get along really well with Alex's parents. They're pretty rad people. What the fuck is another convenience store? This is, nope, that's the Shrine. I'll check that one. Got their permission, went out, found the ring, bought it the day before I was actually going to do it, because I wanted to make sure that she didn't find the ring. Found the exact one that I wanted. Kept it hidden from her. I was like super fucking nervous she was going to find it, so that day I buy it when she's at work one day. Have it obviously at home. However we're going to do it, which that could have gone two ways. And when she came home that day, to make absolutely sure she wouldn't find the ring, I hid it in my apron at work. I kept it on me the entire time, and the box was not that small. It was like basically a perfect cube that was like that big by that big, which kind of big for an apron pocket. It stuck out really obviously to anybody looking. I got some weird looks at work because I kept it in my center pocket because that was the only one that I don't use for things, because I don't generally like pulling things out of my crotch at work. It kind of turns people off and they give you worse money. But that's what got some weird looks that day. Get back from work when she's not paying attention immediately, because I can't keep it in my fucking apron at this point. She would notice. So I have it in my jacket. Zip up my jacket, hide it in a place that I don't think that, like I, you know, like move my jacket so that it's like hung in a way that she can't see that there's anything in the pocket. Sir, please have what I'm looking for. You do not have what I'm looking for. This is unacceptable. I'll be taking my business elsewhere. We're driving to Armagh the next day, so I hide the ring, go to sleep, wake up the next day, check it about 19 times to make sure I still have it, hide it in the pocket of my jeans, hoping that she won't notice that it's in there, but I put it in my right pocket and she was driving, so she, you know, couldn't see that side of it. When we get there, I give it to her mom to hide until later when we need it. We were there for like a minor surgery for her, like really minor thing. But we were gonna have to go through. We made a trip out of it that day. So in order to make sure that the whole family could be there, I had to wait till like 4 o'clock. And we're there at like fucking 8. So I didn't sleep at all the night before. So I'm gonna fucking propose. You know, single most important question I will ask anyone in my entire life ever. So I'm fucking like a nervous wreck. We get like, I'm trying to act like normal all day, and I can't like overthinking everything. I'm like, what do people do with their hands? Stick them in your pockets. Turns out works really, really well. But I'm trying to act like nothing's weird. We go to like, you know, we go out to eat. I have like fucking no appetite because my stomach's like all like, yeah. And she's like, is everything okay? And I'm like, oh yeah, I'm just not feeling great. And she's like, oh, can I get you anything? I was like, no, I'll be fine in like a couple of hours. Because, you know, I was totally going to be fine in a couple of hours. Actually was fine in a couple of hours. Obviously. She ends up taking a nap. Her whole family ends up like actually getting there. I think for like different people coming home from work. I set up with her mom and I'm like, okay, convince her to come outside like, as she's waking up. Because I can't do it, because there's no reason that I would ever go outside. Apparently her family did a terrible job of doing that. I didn't hear this part because I was already outside waiting, but her mom and her sister were like, you need to come outside and look at a flower. She's like, I don't want to go look at a flower. Like, just come look at the flower. She's like, this is fucking bullshit. So she comes out, and I'm there, and yeah, then I propose to her at the bottom of the step that she's at the top of, And she said yes, and it was like the best thing ever. Scotch whiskey, I need you. And oh god, I still have to go looking for the fucking sake. Yeah, so that was pretty fucking rad. She said yes, and yeah, that was like a little over a year ago, and we're getting married next year. Because we didn't want to go broke planning a wedding. We did not realize at the time that we were going to get help from any of our parents. Turns out that all of them are helping us, and also, it's super fucking convenient to have divorced parents now because I have like 3 sets of parents to help me out. Because my mom has a boyfriend and my dad has a fiance, so this is fucking great. It's super. They all offered. I should be clarified. I'm not just like, you guys are gonna give me money now, right? Because I'm not, again, not a monster. And I've always been somebody who, like, my financial independence is really important. I didn't like having an unbalanced power dynamic with my parents. And sir, you better have. This is not a place that sells alcohol. Cool. I'm out. Yeah, but obviously, fucking weddings are expensive as shit. I don't. Not to get into details, but like, damn, our wedding is probably going to cost we could pay off the rest of Alex's student loan with the money that we are going to be spending on the wedding. So it would have felt like kind of like a little bit garbage to be putting all that money into one day's event. Which, it's this one. This is the fucking one. Literally as far away as possible. Excuse me, Rico. Oh, be on my way. But they all offered and they're helping us, and that's going to make it much easier. But it still feels really weird when I go to my parents and I'm like, oh, we're putting a deposit down on this thing. Can I have money for it? But, they offered, but it's still asking for money if shit. I also have allowance. Entire life. Girls do that. I don't know if you guys know. They plan their weddings when they're like this. And I think that should change this probably because you have different taste when you're 7 than you do when you're 25. Like she is, but and probably things change a little bit when you instead of it being like some like fucking faceless man. It's like, oh, this is a real person planning this with me. But yeah, it's pretty rad. So yeah, it kind of like concludes everything that's happened. Like I spent a long time where I was just didn't really have any purpose and really had no idea where my future was going. And then after I met Alex, everything kind of super turned around. It was really great having somebody who would like support me in doing something that I put so many hours into that we don't make any money off of. Because like I probably put as many hours into this channel a week that I do in the work, if not more. Because and that's just like actively doing stuff. Like when I'm watching other content, I usually try to be like critical of the way that people do things so I can learn more stuff. Because on top of getting better at on top of getting better at the editing side of things, like, it turns out that if you're editing things that are not entertaining in the first place, no one's going to want to watch them anyway. So my face is super itchy. So yeah, like it was really important to me that I was like, oh, I have to get better at this side of things too. So like when I'm watching content, I don't watch it the way that I used to. It was like, make me laugh, monkeys. It's like, okay, why is that funny? Why did that work? What challenges are they running into in these moments, and how do they, sidestep them? How does this compare to the way that I handled a similar situation? Which of these works better? And I tried doing that with lots of different things that I watch now. And I don't know, like obviously I'm biased as fuck, but it feels like that's worked out for me. I had different challenges with each of the co-hosts I worked with. The early episodes I did with Ryan, there'd be times where like Ryan needed to take a little things to go, like if things were working well or not, and like to his credit, he's got a lot better at like vocalizing that in a way that's not, off-putting to an audience, in my opinion, and our back and forth's gotten better that way too. And I never really had that issue with Chris, but Chris and I had our own unique issue where I was always thought that like when it comes to down moments in games, Ryan is by far the best at coming up with random side topics to talk about. So when it'd be just me and Chris, it'd be like fuck, like, okay, like, you know, moments happening or conversations we were already having, like, it's easy to keep that stuff going. But when there's, like, a down moment in the game and you need to come up with a side thing, both of us were, like, kind of awkward. And me specifically, I do better at that when I'm also not playing something. Oh, I'm buying one of these, and I'm going to show you guys what this is. It's the greatest thing in the universe. Sake, there we go. That orange. Keep an eye on it, because that's there's going to be a moment that comes up. I don't need anything else, sir. There's going to be a moment that comes up in a fight where it triggers a heat move that is pretty rad. But yeah, like some of those early like Horizon episodes, for example, there'd be like periods of time where like nobody would talk for like 2 minutes because I was like focused on the game and Chris didn't have anything to add. And I like to think that we've gotten better at that. That's been one of like the really big benefits of doing MLB. Is that because we're in a static environment, it's kind of forced us to get a little bit more creative because we're always in a ball diamond, except for when we're on a plane, which is still one of my favorite bits, even though I'm sure that we've overused it to fuck. You are gonna get some. You're gonna get an example made of you, good sir. Oh, no, that was not the move I was going for. And I'm also not going to be able to make an example of it. I'll have to wait for the next guy, I guess. But yeah, like, that's been, you know, it's been something like Chris and I have to constantly come up with new things to talk about or new ways to interact with the environment around this, which has been like really useful in that challenge. And then same kind of idea with Ryan with the Janime, we've kind of found a way of, you know, both of us being able to, you know, do like side conversations while we're talking about something that's. You already got your beer, right? I gave you that already. Chill up, dude. I have everyone else's stuff. Here you go. Here's a sweet potato sochu. And yeah, you look great. Oh, businessman, cool. Yeah, it's been something that we've worked on, and like I think that those have gotten better, and we're still trying to always find ways to make them better. Like we do a lot of critical evaluation afterwards, where like when I don't think something actually worked well, or when one of them doesn't, we kind of talk about like why we, you know, what we think did or didn't work, or what we were both going for, and communicating like how those ideas conflicted and come to some sort of a resolution. It's always a lot more positive than it used to be too. Like nobody gets upset with each other in general. And yeah, it also makes it a lot more fun. Like generally, you'll get less stressed when you feel like you're doing good work, which will make you less stressed about having to do good work, which will make you do better work. Who's really with the water of life, good sir? Or Coca-Cola. We do not have a sponsorship with Coca-Cola. Yeah. Like, obviously, this is probably not my best example of like us being consistently entertaining or consistently professional, because doing a show with somebody else is so much easier when you don't have to be constantly talking about things, or if you distract for a second, you're like, I can pick it up. But I think that if I tried to do this like 6 months ago, I don't think it would have been as good. Case in point, those some of the earlier Pajodcast Legends episodes where I played lead, those were like really hurried because generally they were like when I was trying to meet deadlines, we had no backlog of backlog of videos. It's fucking impossible. I was like, oh, I don't have anything for tomorrow, so I guess I'm staying up and playing lead and doing videos. And even then, having a topic that I am probably as close to an expert on that topic as I am on anything, enough that I can like, oh, I can talk about the game exclusively. There were still moments where like, I don't necessarily run my thoughts together very well. And like supposed to be like, in between doing things for an extended period of time. Whereas, I sit down today, and I'm doing a fucking 2-hour show, and just me. And I went in with one topic in mind. I was like, I'm just going to talk about me. And we're an hour and a half in now, and while I've kind of ranted a little bit here and there, or stopped the plots up a couple times, not really that often. Once for a drink, but that was because my throat was going to garbage, and it's hard to talk that way. As it turns out, although today I edited 2 of those videos, went to work. Alex and I watched the first week of the NALCS, which is why I'm wearing my Team Solo Mid jersey. still.
あの辺りは今
And
地上げの
then
メ
I
ッ
sit
カ
down to
だ。
record this.
なんせ小さな
And
飲
then
み
I
屋ばっ
have
か
to
だから
edit it and
そこの連中を
upload
追い
it
出して一
for
手にま
tomorrow
とめ
because
上
I'm
げ
not
れ
gonna
ば
sit there and do
高
that
く
with
土地
one
が
of
売れるんだ
the
ろうよ。
only morning/afternoons I have without.
立花不動産が
Well, and
チャンピオン
I'm
街
kind
を
of
地上げ
sleeping
している
less,
ってこと
like
か。
getting up earlier and going to bed later.
多
Doing
分ね
the videos
た
this
だ
week.
あそ
It's
こ
been
は
exhausting,
立
but
花
it's
不
been
動
really
産だけ
rewarding.
じゃなくて東上界の連中も
It's just
狙っ
nice
て
that
いる
like I
から
finally feel like things are kind of going
あんた
well
み
in
た
my
いな
life.
ヤク
Like
ザ
I
が
feel
言っ
like
た
I'm
ら
less behind the curve.
あそこの住人たちに
you know,
煙たがられるよ
Having a life partner makes things so much
そうか。
easier because the days where I'm
参
weak,
考に
she's
なった
there to
よ。
be strong,
ありが
and
とう。
the days where, you know, you might think like obviously that's a two-way street. There's days where I have to pick up the slack on days where she's not necessarily as strong, but when you're with the right person, you always, you know, the way like in the right relationship, you get more out of it than, like both of you get more out of it than either of you are putting in. It's kind of like, you know, like the two of us together are more than the sum of our parts, because like to give like really crude like you know off numbers, like if both of us have to put 3 units of happiness into each other, both of us come out with like 5, so everybody wins in that scenario. So, how do I activate that one? Is it this? No? Maybe I have to be above. Oh. No, stop that. I have genuinely no idea what happened in that. Oh, also I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing right now. Sounds like Tachibana champion district. Okay. Oh, they have a yeah, when you have the right life partner, like it just everything's easier. You have somebody who's there to pick you up when you're feeling down. You have somebody who, you know, cares and has your best interest at heart. Like that's what it's supposed to be about, right? I don't. You know, things are not a competition. Like there's definitely times where we don't agree on everything, and we have, you know, serious conversations about things. But I don't know. With the right person, it's not hard. That was always like that was kind of the way that I knew with Alex right away too. Is fucking talking with women is still to this day incredibly difficult for me, and I'm not even trying to like, have any interest in them romantically anymore. I mean, like, I'm so attracted to other women physically and stuff, but like, I'm not like really to attract this woman on a like, you know, I'm failing if I don't attract this woman to me because like, I don't know. Is this the move? No. Okay. There's a really great. Oh, maybe it's just when they're standing in front of you and not. Okay, that's fine. Just gonna head on up this way. Oh, stop and frisk over here. Come on, dude. Ask you. It's not literal stop and frisk, but kind of the same idea. Yeah, stop and search. That's what they call it. This music's fucking rad too. I want to hear you. Yeah, there's been some trouble.
Yeah?
Alright, Doc. We're just gonna... This is some dumb side thing that I have no interest in doing at the moment. I really should have gone out and cleared these ahead of time, because it would have saved us a whole bunch of time. But... Friendship. Friendship is power. Power, friendship. All the best stuff. Yeah, like it just... When you're with the right person, it's like the easiest thing in the world. I was super bad at talking to women, still am, but with Alex it was easy immediately. I didn't have to feel like I was like, there was like, oh, am I going to say the right thing here? How is she going to take this? Fucking, you know, that's pretty obvious. Like, I just showed up in her town without having told her I was going to do that. And I was like, this is going to be fine. And it was totally fine. She reacted the exact way that I thought that she would. Because she also understood the exact same thing, where I was like, this guy could be a serial killer, or he's trying to do something nice for me. And that's true. That's what I was doing. My intention, when I showed up that day, was that she wouldn't have time to be anxious anymore. And she got that immediately. There was no need for an explanation. I don't have to worry about being judged on like the words that I use. It's intent that matters, right? So if I say something wrong and she just follows her, she just tells me, and she's like, what did you actually mean when you said this? That kind of stuff came up a lot more when I was using terms like, I shouldn't be skipping past this. Alright, that stuff wouldn't come, like, you know, it mostly come up when I would use terms that, like, voice ideas that made a lot of sense when you're like a straight white dude, and make less sense when you have any sort of impression in anything, which, you know, women's in the game industry, not the easiest thing. I've noticed that since we've, you know, gone through, I've talked about this with like other things. I think maybe with both Ryan and Chris, definitely with Ryan, not that long ago. In one of those things where like, oh, it was for Souls. Yeah, like if I go into a GameStop, it's like easier to go in, I go what I want. There might be some small talk, it's not that much. Like, you know, the difficulty is when Alex goes in and there's a, you know, very different thing. Other people will ask her like, oh, are you like, oh, you're just coming here picking that for your boyfriend or your brother, aren't you? And she's like, no, I'm into this actually. And then like, they'll text her up or fucking thing. She's just like, oh, you have to prove that you're into it now. Is this when I, yes, okay, watch this. You know how about that orange earlier? Just stick that on that dude's mouth. Curb stop him. Make a little orange juice that he spits out. And then if you look at my inventory, orange juice is gone. It's great. That move is so cool. It's my favorite thing. It's super worth buying the orange for. I don't like going to my way to get an orange every time that I have one. Like everyone in the store there's an orange there. I'm like, I'm gonna get one of these. I'm gonna give myself a little treat. A little treat. I'm gonna beat this dude with a cone. Sorry, guys.
なんだこいつ。
少しは話を聞く気になってくれたが。
Oh, yeah, this was just a great misunderstanding that we had to have a fist fight over because this is Japan, and that's how things work. I actually have no idea if that's things like in Japan at all. I have never been to Japan. Obviously, not obviously. I guess I could have gone, but I haven't. So I don't really understand this thing, but it happens in anime all the time, so that's close enough. But yeah, essentially it's nice to have like a partner who's really understanding about that stuff. Like, Alex is super cool about, you know, how much time I put into this channel, and she genuinely enjoys how passionate I get about it, even if, you know, not everything we do is necessarily for her. It's not like she watches every video, which, let's be honest, we make too many. I don't even watch every video. I don't have time for that. I literally would not have enough hours in the day if I did that. But maybe we would start doing that if we had a situation going on or whatever, but whereas it's just me, that's just not going to happen for now.
俺は組を破門された身だ。もう関係ねえ。
その元ヤクザがなんで俺らのこと嗅ぎ回ってる。
あんたらの社長から手を組まねえかと誘われたもんでな。
Yeah, no, she's like really supportive and understanding of like, you know, there'll be times where she'll like want to talk to me after work, and if I'm like halfway through an episode, she'll just you know, text me like, hey, do you mind if we just talk when I get home? And at the same time, I don't try to be like negligent of her. I try to schedule things around when she's not here, or you know, not awake when she's here. Like when Chris and I record, she's always in the apartment, but she's asleep. That doesn't really count. But you know, sometimes there's some overlap. Like this week specifically, while I tried to be as efficient as possible in doing things that I didn't even discuss before when she was around, there was still a little bit of crossover with that stuff. And she was super cool about it. And at the same time, she's super into cosplay. She's really good at it. She doesn't necessarily see herself as good as I do with it, but I think she's fantastic at it. And it's super fucking out of my depth. And I don't understand anything that she's doing. But, you know, we fucking talk about that shit. It's really cool to see that somebody gets that passionate, even if it's about something I'm not as passionate about. It's, you know, seeing somebody get excited about something that they're really into is great, especially when you care about that person.
この辺の土地はカムロ町が戦争で焼ける前からいるような人たちのもんだし、うちの社長が言うにはここらはカムロ町の根っこだ。俺たちみてえな新参者に好き勝手する資格はないって。 ってさ。
Really, the only thing I would like to be able to, like, more than what I have now, is just making enough money through this in some way that I didn't have to work on it. That would be great. And outside of, like, I don't expect that. Like, if I could end up in a situation where I make more money than I'm making now, and I have to keep working through it. And that would suck, but if I'm going to get to a point where I'm going to get, an actual career out of this, I'm going to have to earn that. And it's not going to be easy. I've been doing my best for a year, constantly getting better, like a little over a year at this point now, and I'll keep doing it as long as I can. It makes me happy, it makes me fulfilled, and you know, there's something about, like, you know, having a partner is amazing and fantastic, but when you aren't being creative and productive, which I wasn't for a long time when we were dating, and I still felt happy, but I still felt like I was wasting my potential. And I don't feel like that anymore. I feel like I'm, you know, even though I still have to work while I'm doing it, I'm still happy, like, in general. It's just, it's great. It'd be rad if Ryan and Chris and I lived in the same city, but, you know, none of us have any plans to move anytime soon, and that's not the end of the world. But no, like, outside of literally just, like, location stuff like that, like, I'm getting married to, like, a wonderful woman who's I'm attracted to physically and mentally and emotionally. Like, she's a, like, I've always been somebody who cared more about, you know, personality than somebody's looks. Obviously, looks are still a factor, but, you know, I would, like, rather date somebody who was less attractive and a better person, or a cooler person that I got, you know, had more in common with and got along better with than somebody who was better looking and I didn't really, you know, like as a person. And yeah, I had made that sacrifice with women that I dated before. Not sacrifice like, you know, like, oh, what a martyr I am, but, like, you know, made that trade-off when I dated women before. And then the person that I dated was awesome. The person that I met who I get along with and then changed the most is also, like, by far the most beautiful woman I've ever dated. Or, like, thought I had a chance of dating. Oh, this is not going to go well for him. Ooh. That man's going to have to visit a dentist. And that's fucking rad. Like, and then on top of that, like, she's also supportive of me in my endeavors. And I get to do things I love every day. Like, even when it's not like I have the most fun, like, there are definitely times this week when I'm sitting there at fucking 4 a.m. still waiting for an export to go, and I'm like, God damn it, there's still 2 more hours on this. I don't want to stay up until 6. We're getting up and recording at 11 tomorrow. This is not going to be a great day, but it's still, like, the experience was great. And then it was fucking rad. But, like, you know, this was, like, probably the greatest, like, time sacrifice. Okay. This is also going to be, like, we're going to get through, like, this part here, and then I'm going to kind of probably call it here, because we're about 10 minutes out. And I need to stop doing this so that I can edit it. I'll head inside, though. This is also a pretty natural stopping point after we get through here, so that's kind of worked out perfectly. But yeah, even though, like, it was really great that things kind of ended up working out the way that, like, working out for us. Like, while we have by no means hit a big break or anything, like, 500 views is not, you know, like, the fucking almighty anything. This is a huge milestone for us, and I feel awesome about it. And everybody who's watching who liked it or didn't like it, or has opinions about things, positive or negative, like, it all feels really good. Also, sir, I think that you're lying. The president is absolutely... I also have the itchiest nose. I'm so sorry. This is the day that I'm on camera and you can see me scratching a fucking face. The entire time that I'm doing this, but... That is life.
若いチンピラが来るだろうから死なない程度に可愛がってやれ
to come meet here. Told us a lie. He said we'd be welcomed here with open arms. We are the opposite of that. But we were invited. We are going to go.
聞こえなかったのがさっさと帰れっつ
俺はここんとこどこ行っても歓迎されやしねだが呼ばれた先で門前ばだから誰も呼んでねえっつってんだば
I'm starting to get a little tired. I need to get this fucking episode done. This part's pretty rad though. Talking to you is wasting my time. Oh, that guy's got like a... That's either like a cattle prod stun weapon or just like a straight up stick. And also this music is fucking rad! And you're gonna be some soon, sir. Oh! That was so much meaner than the first time. One electric baton? Oh yeah, that is straight up not that other dude. Yeah, no, I feel really good about this. I'm like, having like a couple hours to get here and talk to myself and gather my thoughts. Like, it's kind of a good way to, like, you know, like obviously these things have happened in the last 9 years at this point. Like from that first thing with school, I was 18 now, I'm 27 now. I've never like, you know, sat down and taken stock of it. It's really, it's a nice therapy. Like, it feels really good to do that. And I don't mind shit. Like, I used to be really embarrassed about all that stuff. Like, it, you know, it felt like garbage. I felt like I was really behind everybody else in life, and you know, I don't feel like that anymore. Now, like, my past doesn't embarrass me the way that it once did. I had like a lot of shame for it. I never wanted to talk about it. I lied to myself and other people about it all the time. But, Oda's back. But it doesn't embarrass me anymore. Like, I learned a lot from each of those mistakes. And part of them, they all shaped me to be who I am today. If things had worked out better for me, I probably wouldn't have met Alex. And my life would be infinitely worse, no matter what. Because I don't know, like, maybe I would, like, it would have been like technically better, but it would absolutely not be the same person I am now. And the path that I was heading down previously have been nearly as... There are a lot of qualities I have now that I value, that I'm really glad that I have, that if I didn't have, I would probably consider myself to be an inferior person. There's no way I would have them without it. Because none of these are things that I could or would talk about with any other people, as opposed to talk with Alex. Also, this dude's got a fucking metal tonfa. This might get ugly. Oh, he wants to fight me. Well, I'm happy to indulge you, Oda. Half-assed ex-Yakuza? How dare you? Pretty sure this is a full-on boss fight. He's got like a major health bar. Yeah, he's got a big health bar. Also, there's something about just... Yeah, oh yeah, he's got a double health bar, actually. There's something about fighting this like giant apartment. When you use beast mode, you automatically pick up furniture and equipment, and... Sure, you don't care. You don't care, it's like... Excuse me, sir. Getting them to learn the actual movements is very difficult. It's one I want to do because it feels really cool to do these bosses. It's difficult to land shots on him unless you're he doesn't get stunned the way that most people do. Alright, I'm gonna have to use a healing item. There's no way I'm gonna lose this fight for that one here. That's not the move I was trying to do. That was okay. Peace. Oh, that's not going to go well either. Again, teeth and to the back of the head. Again, feels fucking rad. Yeah, so it's really cool to get to sit down and just take stock of your life like this and share it with the internet. You know, some people, you know, will look positively on the court, some people look negatively. That's totally fine. I am and will always be somebody who is a controversial, straight stuff, to be a controversial person. I'm not afraid to stand up for what I believe in or to tell people how I feel. About them, not always necessarily, you know, when it comes to myself. Anyway, but I think I'm also, you know all the open stuff, and you just got wrecked, son. Since I've been doing this, it's easier to talk to a camera than necessarily, you know, in an audience of people rather than two individuals face to face. But I would consider that to be, gaining that to be a positive thing.
嘘だろこの俺にこんな若造が怠慢で勝つかよ
I'm the protagonist. That means I'm always going to win. That's how anime works. And Yakuza is nothing if not anime.
納得しましたか、小田さん。
ええ俺の 負け
So
で
right
す
before we
よ
got here, this dude here in like the black suit found us out in the street and like brought us
あんたの
back
承知で織田に俺を試させたってことなの
to his apartment, gave us like food, let us shower. We were like bloody as fuck.
小田さんは私にとって
You should come work for me. And we were
か
like,
けがえ
I'm
の
gonna
ない
go
片
investigate
腕
you.
で
That's
す。
what we've doing basically this
だ
entire
から
time.
我々の中にあなたを迎え入れるには
So
彼の了解を取る
now
必
that's
要
what we
が
do
あ
these
りました
tests. But all of this was to get a job. I basically just did a job interview for 2 hours in this episode. That's
そう
what
か
we
よ
did.
俺はつくづく自分がバカに思えてきたぜ。さっきまであんたらは信用してもいいって気
Oh,
にな
here
り
he's
か
not
けて
impressed. Oh yeah, this seems pretty rad.
立花、そろそろ腹の中に隠してるもん見せろ。
I'll just let this happen.
あんたはなぜこの俺に近づいてきた？その理由は何なんだ？
いいでしょう。ですがその前にあなたはこのカムロ町という町を何と見ますか？
カムロ町？さあな、質問の意味がわかんねえ。
私はね、桐生さん、この町は堂島組をはじめとする登場界の餌場であると見ています。一晩中ネオンに彩られたこの町に集まる人や金、そこからあふれる甘い汁は全て登場界の極道たちに吸い上げられる。
何が言いてんだ？
登場界が力で光り輝かせるこの町に私は風穴を開ける人間です。こんな風にね。
This is so fucking rad. They never explain this, by the way, like whether he has actual magical powers or what.
なんだと？
Just kind of like, yeah, that's just a thing that happens, and don't worry about it. Just this major subset of Tokyo, just all the lights. Except for his apartment.
金は力。私は自分の力がこの先どこまで登場界に迫れるか試してみたい。ですがまだまだでしてね。今の私ではせいぜい10秒というところが限界ですが、いずれは殻の一粒を手に入れてカムロ町の支配者
They
層
have
を
a lot
食い
of
込
like
む
this
つも
small
りです。
plot of land that's in the middle of a giant
あ
developmental
の土地
project.
はそれだ
So
け
the
の
clan
価
that
値
Kiryu
を
was at basically was trying to buy out a massive like, bunch of land individually, and then
桐
tear
生
down
さんが
everything
ご
that's there
存
and
知か
sell
ど
the
うか、
land
登場
for
界
a
という
major
組織
profit
は
to,
決して一枚岩で
to
はあ
build
り
this
ません。
giant ass building. But there's a
その
very,
証
very
拠に
tiny plot of land in
登
the
場
middle,
界には
and if
こ
they
の
don't own it,
私
they
に協
can't
力する
develop it.
ある一
So
人
the
の人
value of
物
those
がいま
pieces
す。
of land does not increase the way it's supposed to.
そして私があなたに近づいた理由はその人物から強力な推薦を受けたからなんですよ。
登場界の内通者ってことか。誰なんだそいつは。
あなたと私が手を結ぶことを望んだその人物は登場界直系堂島組若頭風間慎太郎です。
That's Kiryu's mentor.
なんだ
Guy who's in prison.
おやっさんが
He's trying to clear the name off.
あなたは堂島組の若頭補佐久世さんから風間さんをスパイするように言われましたね。風間さんの隠し持つ殻の一坪の情報を風間さんが隠し持っていた情報、それは殻の一坪の所有者を見つけ出すことのできる人
間。あんたが
我々は殻の一坪をめぐる争奪戦であの堂島組より大きく先へ、いずれそのことを知れば彼らは激怒するでしょう。本気ですが、それを承知であなたが私が風間さんからあなたのことを託されたのは半年前、あの人が刑務所に入るよりも前のことです。風間さんは久世があなたに近づくこともあなたが組にいられなくなることも、
まさかいくらおやっさんでもそんなことまで分かるわけないだろう。
風間さんは堂島組どころか登場会という組織で頂点へ上り詰めるだけの器量を持った人間です。風間さんにとってあなたの周りに起こること、そしてその風間さんが殻の一坪を手に入れる目的はおそらくあの人はもっと大きなもののために。
Okay, this is going a little longer than I was expecting it to. Let's just
なんで今おやっさ
それすら風間さんの計画のうちではないか
through
と。
it.
なんだと。
It's insane. Yes, Kiryu. It's
ご理解いただけましたか。
totally banana sandwich. Yeah. We trust you now, I guess, because you told us like 3 things.
風間さんがおっしゃるにはこれが
What's he
そ
gonna
の証
give
拠にな
us?
ると。
Oh, a locket or a pocket watch that only he owned or something.
これは
Okay, come on, guys.
あなたも見
Yeah,
覚え
there's
が
a
ある
locket
はず
that
です。
has
風間さんが沢村由美さ
everybody
んから
inside of it. Yeah. Cool.
おやっさんが
あなたにお渡しするよう預かっ
俺にはまだ
Okay.
おやっさんって人がどういう男なだが、あの人が俺に
This shot looks really cool, though. I do have to say, like the black and white. It
Oh, yes,
was,
and
they had like a
the
cutscene that was like this
Gokudo
earlier.
に
It
なった時。
was raining in the game, but just the black
そ
and
う
white
決めていた。
cut of it just looks fucking rad.
ではこれから
That's great. Okay, so yeah, that's the end of that chapter. Then there's a big ass fucking cutscene. Oh, it's really great, but it's like 20 minutes and not something I'm going to make people sit through. So that'll do it for this week's Sunday Showcase. Anybody who stuck through it, I really appreciate it. I had a lot of fun doing it. It felt really nice to kind of get to open up that way in a way that I really, personally haven't been able to with an audience. It's a lot different when you're doing it with somebody else. So it felt really cool to, get to do that. Again, which I haven't really been able to do things by myself in a long time. Definitely not since I've gotten a little more comfortable talking, doing a little bit more of a monologue on camera. So yeah, anybody who joined us this week, I appreciate it. Thanks a lot. And next week we'll kind of be back to the usual routine. I'm pretty sure it's Ryan's turn next week, so I have no idea what he'll be playing. He probably doesn't either yet, but until then, thanks as always for watching, and see you guys next time.